Welcome to Journey Now, a podcast about following Jesus that takes on serious issues without ever taking itself too seriously. Each week, the pastors, staff, and friends of Journey Church in Brentwood, Tennessee, gather to catch up, share life together, and laugh a little. Okay, a lot. Maybe too much. But along the way, they also explore what it really means to bring heaven to earth, share Jesus' hospitality, and live cross-shaped lives. Part Babble, part Bible, and occasionally even thoughtful and entertaining, this is Journey Now.
No, just from here. But the bar is so low that it's like...
I gotta keep getting lower.
I know.
Lower.
I know. Well, welcome to Journey Now. Suzie P. Lind is back.
Where?
And the P stands for prophetic.
Oh.
Because that's what we talked about this weekend. So Suzie P. Lind is back. Tim Tims is out.
Yes.
Kevin Dixon's got a red shirt on, which... I don't know, man. Have we seen this one before?
Oh, yeah. I
don't always want to comment, but it's a red shirt today.
You kind of do want to always comment.
I do. Well, I'm jealous.
You like
jealous.
red shirts. See,
I'm jealous.
I had a white shirt on.
Yeah, that would have been too much.
Yeah, and then I realized it's Suzie. No.
It's 80. Yeah, it's 84.
We do sometimes wear the same outfit to work, though, which is kind of weird. I know.
But
yeah. So the rapture still didn't happen.
I don't know if that says more about you or about me.
Yeah. We the joke this weekend was we were at staff meeting on Tuesday thinking this isn't the best test case for whether or not the rapture is happening.
Because I'm not here.
It's not.
No, because our staff is our staff.
Yeah.
And if there was any church staff that deserved to be left behind, it was probably ours.
My favorite thing in the world was that guy who texted in and said he was wondering if the staff was raptured or not.
Did you see my response?
Yes, you said only half of them, and then he says, "I'll be there with the other half on Sunday, and out of respect, I'll refrain from guessing which half."
Oh, perfect. That's perfect.
So funny.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I saw Seth later that day that I realized,
we're safe.
Okay,
Everything's
it didn't
fine.
happen.
Everything's fine.
Did not happen.
Yes.
And speaking of Seth, good morning, Seth. Good afternoon, Seth, and good evening, Seth. And Brad, we love you. I was just chastised before the microphone was turned on by both Edwin and Suzie for not having watched Thunderbolts at this point or Fantastic Four. And
I'm so disappointed.
There's only one red line on the recording. Is that bad?
Is that bad?
Okay. I just wanted
Look at Kevin thinking.
Wow.
Well,
he wore red, so he sees it everywhere. We spent 10 minutes before we even...
I know, but this was the same thing as you not saying Nacho Libre. Like, you have to, I have to talk about something.
There have been some confrontations, ladies and gentlemen, towards Mike Erre that you're just now...
Well, it's more that I feel like you watch more things than I do. And so, like, when I watch something that's really great, I assume you've already seen it.
Why would you assume that? I read.
I know. You do
write.
both.
I walk.
I know.
I have to tell you, I have a secret superpower that's maybe not so secret.
yeah, you know music lyrics.
I think in song lyrics all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the number of times up there speaking that I just want to... It's a mess.
Yeah.
It's chaos.
It's
in there.
I don't know
Well,
if it's a superpower.
you quoted Whitney Houston this last week.
Yes.
And there was one other one. Was there another one?
There probably are.
Yeah.
It happens so naturally. And it is a superpower, Kev. I don't know that you can make money from it, and I don't know that it helps anybody. But I come from a land down under. Okay? So, anyway, go ahead. Suzie, what's your superpower?
It's a
You
drum.
have them.
I'm
So we
too
need to
tired
bless
tell
the
you
rain.
any superpowers.
Oh,
right now.
nice.
I'm sorry.
You're too tired?
Yeah.
You're too tired. Oh, jet lagged?
A little bit.
A little bit?
We're not talking about that.
What time did you
We're not
get
talking
back?
about the vacations we've all been on this year. We're just not going to talk
We're
about
not
that.
doing it.
No, not at the same time, and not when we remind people to give to the church. It's just,
Okay.
you can't do it. You can't do it. We've all had epic trips this year.
Epic.
Absolutely. I went...
My trip was cheaper than going to California, so.
Oh. Well,
I haven't been
you're going to
this
California
year.
wrong then, evidently.
Evidently. Yeah.
I mean,
On
come
the
on.
nose. On
Come
the
on.
nose.
Kevin, all right. Well, I know what your superpower is.
Yeah.
I know what yours is.
I don't.
Yes.
Red shirt.
Are you ready? No.
No, what is it?
Okay. Well, he's got several. One is the magnificent biceps and the tight shirts that he wears to show them off.
I'm not wearing one today.
Nope, it's beautiful. Secondly, the ability to have hard conversations with people.
Yes, he's very good.
The
at
third
that.
thing is that he's able to match anyone's energy. So on the crotchety spectrum, he can go from utterly positive and joyful to like the most bitter, cynical dudes and match their energy completely.
Yeah.
He's got a wide range of relational genre.
Yeah. That should be a superhero guy. Like, it just matches who's ever in the room.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
And Suzie, yours, I would say spice. You are a spice girl. For sure. The other thing I would say is the hugging with your eyes. There's something there that I don't know that it communicates on YouTube as well.
Probably not.
Nice. Okay. Anyway, so the P stands for prophecy.
Yeah.
And yes, you missed the first two, and they were probably the two best think messages that
they
have
were both intros.
ever happened. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
We're not just going to dive into here's what Jeremiah means to me.
Are we going to be an intro still this weekend?
Yes. Yeah.
Somebody asked how long it's going to be.
The intro?
I said, no.
The whole series.
The whole
Jeremiah,
series.
it's 52 chapters.
They're trying to decide whether or not to get a commentary.
I know.
Yeah.
So
Or go to a different church until
Just
Christmas?
Just get one.
Yeah. Just
get
come back
one.
at Christmas.
You know?
And then,
Jeremiah's 52 chapters. I'm sure the commentary has got to be at least
oh, Lord. Dude,
100 chapters.
The commentaries are ridiculous.
Did
Seriously
you
long.
recommend certain commentaries?
No,
I
he
have
did
not yet, but I
That would
have.
probably be a good idea.
I don't think so, Suzie. I'm sorry. I don't think one person is going to go buy a Jeremiah commentary
Mike.
after I'm done with this thing.
Mike, if your people who
are
are
called by my
your
name, yes.
need a commentary,
You know what?
We've already had one person ask.
That's true.
oh,
Gosh, why would you do that?
It was just I didn't know
like,
what it
what's
was. I thought
happening? What is happening?
I thought it was I thought it was
don't
just
do
a
Now your
that.
hand's gonna smell like that. Those things
they're fine.
they just smell bad.
They don't smell bad. Do they stink? I mean, do they really stink? Is that really
You
called a stink
smash
bug?
them.
Similar to Old Spice.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the P,
Stands for phobia.
focus.
Perplexed.
Yeah. Seth, I'm so sorry. It was a bug. It was a very slow-moving bug. And Seth Erie loves bugs, and he always threatens to eat them. So, just on the other end of the spectrum,
Yeah.
as they say.
Yes, living
All right.
living
so
in the wrong country.
Jeremiah, as you were mocking 2 weeks of intro to Jeremiah.
Oh, is that what we were doing?
So, yeah, this week we're going to talk about the covenant.
Okay.
Because Jeremiah now begins to equate idolatry with adultery. And it's very graphic. Much of that chapter we're not going to read, but the idea that the covenant represents a covenant of love and delight and chosenness and belovedness, like that's worth exploring. So it'll be an intro to the covenant. Yeah. And then we're off and running. One sermon per chapter, 52 weeks, done.
1 year in the books.
We're not doing it.
Oh.
No, we're just going to sample. We're just going to, it's like wine tasting. We're just going to taste.
And spit out.
Is that what you do at wine tasting?
Yeah,
Some people.
sometimes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So this week we introduced the idea of prophet and prophecy.
Okay.
Prophet, very simply, someone who speaks on behalf of God, commissioned by God to do so. Prophecy, a message God wants to communicate to his people through a human messenger. And because that definition is so broad, we have to at least acknowledge the breadth and width and depth of the abuse that comes from people who are so-called or self-anointed prophets, or people that just walk around saying, hey, God wants you to know this and this and this. And where we ended was with Paul saying, listen, don't treat prophecies with contempt. New Testament church. So this is like prophecies still exist. God still speaks to his people. But so don't treat them with contempt, but test them. And so we just went over a little bit about, okay, what might testing look like?
Yeah.
And that generated, of course, wonderful sets of questions. And
So what does it look like for the church to be a prophetic voice today?
that's part of the confusion is prophecy operates on tons of different levels. So you can be a prophetic community. You could be a prophet. God has given prophets to the church. You could operate prophetically, even if you're not speaking. So yes, there's loads of different ways to understand how this would inflesh itself. So to be a prophetic community, what I think Paul's teaching in the New Testament community is to be a community that lives and participates in the reality of the resurrected Jesus and the past coming and the future coming of his kingdom. So that you are truthing in love, right? As we've talked about that phrase. And what's the truth? The truth is that Jesus is risen from the dead. And so to be a prophetic community means we're not defined by the antagonisms or the polarizations of society or identities found elsewhere. And as people who are identified with a kingdom that's defined by the heavens, then we're able to live in ways that don't make sense otherwise. So why would you forgive an enemy? Why would you bless someone that persecutes you? Makes no sense if the current reality is all there is. It makes total sense, though, if you're witnessing to the end of a story that includes the resurrection of the dead, a new creation, and the universal reconciliation of all things. Then it would make sense. So in some ways, and we talked about this before, we're the presence of the future. We know how the story ends, and so we enact the ending of the story now. The reason we care about race is because the end of the story ends with every tongue, tribe, and nation gathered around a table. And so we practice that now. The reason we care about justice issues is because the images given to us about the age to come are all about justice. They're all about the reconciliation of humans to each other, to God, and to creation. And so we just enact those sorts of things now. And in that way, we're prophetic. Now, I think there are people who have gifts of prophecy, and they speak. They're sometimes called words of knowledge, which gives them the spooky sort of feel. But I've actually had situations where, because Paul even says, eagerly desire the greater gifts, especially prophecy. So there was a season in my life where I said, okay, God, I don't know what prophecy is, but would you give me that gift since I'm supposed to eagerly desire it? And there were several instances over the course of the next several months that were just unexplainable. I'd be praying for somebody in public and something would pop into my head and I would pray it. And then all of a sudden they would start weeping and there's no way I could have known that that was a relevant sort of thing. So I think those things do happen. Absolutely. So the issue is, well, how do we discern whether a community is prophetic, whether a person is prophetic, or whether it's some word of God that comes through somebody is actually some word of God. And so, as always, discernment's the key. And we tried to end with, okay, so what are some of the questions you might ask in discerning whether or not something's actually coming from God or not?
Yeah.
So, it seemed relevant. And it generated, as you would imagine, lots of thoughts and conversations. How was Convos with Kev? Kev?
That's good. Yeah. Just the idea of what is the purpose of prophecy today. Is it primarily for the church? Like mostly the prophecy was for the nation of Israel.
That's a great question.
Was it primarily, is the test, like if somebody, can you be a self-proclaimed prophet? Does somebody have to acknowledge
or an apostle?
I mean, if we're throwing that out, yeah. Does somebody have to acknowledge that?
Does somebody have to say, "Oh, you're a prophet"?
Yeah. Those are great.
Are you always standing in the seat of the prophet, or sitting?
Right.
Sitting.
Yeah.
Are you always functioning in that role?
Those are great.
Yeah. So it was good. It was a good conversation,
great, man.
Yeah.
And that's the purpose of Convos. Is to chew on those really nitty gritty.
Yeah.
That's really great. That's really great.
One of the questions on the text line though, Mike, was it seems like you downplayed future prophecies.
Yes.
And Jesus seemed to fulfill like some of those future prophecies. So it seemed like the sermon kind of diminished that idea.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that?
Well, I'm eager on your thoughts on this too, but I'll kick it off just because I did diminish it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The heart of biblical prophecy has very little to do with predicting the future. And if future predictions are made, then they're almost always used to call the current generation to faithfulness.
Repentance. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So So yes.
But that's a departure for where a lot of people come from, because
For
there's
sure.
people who think that there's a lot of prophecies that are potentially coming to pass in the future, like
sure.
with Israel and all that stuff.
Correct. Correct. So yes, and my particular theological upbringing was the Left Behind. Like it's all about prophecy. Just means what's happening in the future.
Right.
We can know that now, and therefore, whatever. And it's shocking when you study the 15 prophetic books, the percentages on what's referencing the future. I mean, it's tiny.
Yeah.
But when you get to, so how does Christ fulfill prophecy?
Right.
That's a whole different ballgame.
That is. And what I responded to is I said, if you read the prophets, most of what they said was going to happened in their lifetime. It wasn't something it was an imminent demise.
Yeah.
Basically is.
Yeah.
The exception to that is Jonah, where people actually repented. And they turned, but that was outside of the nation Israel. That was actually to an enemy. So if you wonder if, I went there a little bit.
Yeah.
If you wonder, does God love his enemies? Yeah.
Yeah.
He sent Jonah to his enemies.
Come on.
Anyway, all that to say,
love
that was the principle
Yeah.
that when I first went to seminary was new to me.
Yeah.
When the prophets, usually it happens in their lifetime. They see the fulfillment of the prophecy. Same with Jesus.
Talking about destruction of Jerusalem.
And same with Revelation.
I mean, we've looked at it.
Yeah.
Yes. And
So
no, it's such a big point.
Sorry.
No, but you take like Isaiah 7,
Yeah.
the virgin birth.
Right.
Okay, so when you read Isaiah 7 in context with really good biblical commentaries, you realize that had nothing to do with the coming of the Messiah. That was actually the solution to a political problem Israel was having.
Yes. Which
Now-
they usually had. But
Yes.
that's a different story.
And so the New Testament writers, led by Jesus himself, where's that bug? Led by Jesus himself, will turn around and rummage through Old Testament vocabulary saying, hey, this stuff has happened before. And they'll pull it forward in ways that the original audience or even the original prophet would never have foreseen.
Right.
And so what Jesus and what the New Testament writers do that we're not given the same permission to do, we're not inspired in the same way that they were, is that they use the Old Testament as examples of patterns that have happened before that Jesus comes in fulfillment of.
Right. Yeah.
I have questions.
Wait. You have questions.
Yeah, you're seminary Susie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the,
No, I have questions.
we're asking you
So
questions.
then
Prophet
what about,
Susie.
because I remember when we did Revelation at the very beginning, you did say that there were some things that were implied for the future.
Sure.
And like the new heaven and the new earth, that hasn't happened yet.
Right.
So
As far as we know,
that's future.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Predictive, if you want to.
we might not have been invited to
But
that
see, I don't know
party.
how predictive it is because it's not calendarized.
Right.
So what we do with biblical prophecies,
try to
calendarize it. Exactly. So predictive in the sense of, hey, here's how the story ends. Okay. Do
Right.
I call that predictive prophecy? I don't.
So what about when there's a lot of talk these days
What?
about the coming of Christ again,
Yeah.
and how some of the things that are happening in the world right now are reflective of that, or
Sure.
ushering that in, maybe.
Sure.
Like, where does that all come from? Can you talk about that a little bit?
This is a reference
So, like-
to the Apache helicopter.
Well, so like, there are people who think that Christ is going to return and something major is going to happen, like on Mount Zion, right?
Oh.
Like that there's
Yeah.
going to be like some epic battle.
Well, it depends how you understand it. The temple will be built first, and reinaugurated.
Yeah.
Sacrifices will be offered again.
Yes,
Yeah.
it has
Then
to.
there's a battle.
Yeah.
Right. That's going to actually happen literally where that
Sure.
place is now. There's people who like think
Absolutely.
that. Where does that come from? And
Well, graciously, I would say, that comes from a theological stream that wasn't particularly relevant until the 1800s, and interpreted the Bible in very pro-American,
Western.
So that goes back to like the Schofield Study Bible and all that.
John
stuff.
Darby, the whole the
dispensationalism.
Rise and Fall of Dispensationalism is a really interesting book. There's a lot of money to be made in predictive prophecy.
But there are a lot of Christians who believe that. And particularly, I would say, in the events that have happened in the last few weeks, it's come to light, at least in my friend circle, if you will.
Yeah.
My social media friend, my actual friend circle.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who seem to be thinking that way.
Yes. And there are parts that we would want to affirm of that, right? You look around at what's happening in the world, and we all cry for it to be remade. Like, that's a very, like, godly expression of the Imago Dei. You don't have to be a Christian to want this sucker over and done with.
You guys are like, I'm seriously like...
Oh no.
Oh, no.
Oh! Wow. Well... Why? So there's a godly impulse that we want to affirm, which is God. We recognize that human beings can't fix the mess. So I affirm the heck out of the desire to see Jesus return.
Yeah.
And the teaching that says Jesus is returning.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not arguing Jesus returning.
No. But you're asking why is that? And I'm saying, well, part of it's a really good thing. I think the part that I would disagree with, part of the impulse to but when it comes to conspiracy theories, we're always huge
we're
fans.
in on that, man.
We're in on conspiracy theories, man. Secret knowledge, like predictive stuff. Like, we can't get enough of this stuff.
Yep.
So many of our disaster movies. I mean, we love cataclysms. We love apocalypses. Like, yes. And part of that is dissatisfaction with the world, but part of it is just a uniquely American understanding of some of the social realities that we inhabit. I think the other thing is, if you're not aware of those theological systems and you're just being told, well, this is just what the Bible teaches, then, well, yeah, okay. I mean, that's the classic guilt and fear people into believing, right? Because the rapture could happen any second. And I think the third reason that they get so much attention. So there's a good reason. I think there's a profiteering reason. I think, but I think that what sits behind all of it is the idea that all salvation is getting our souls to heaven and dealing with our sin problem, and so God has nothing else to do with the world than that. So it would totally make sense. He would just come and evacuate a bunch of souls into heaven so that they don't escape the judgment on earth to come. Is any of this resonating? Do you agree? Do you think it doesn't explain?
I think that there are a lot of people who are not trying to make a profit necessarily, but like you said, like that's all I was taught. I didn't know that there were other ways to think about that until, I don't know, 10 years ago or so. But like, it's just interesting to me that there's so much of that. There's so much of that out there. And like, there's these certain theological beliefs that are pretty harmful out there that are like, they're like tentacles or like in all these different places. You know what I mean? But I don't think unless you're like a total nerd like me, or where you like actually like to read about this stuff and understand where it came from and things like that, which, I mean, I know that like that's a very nerdy thing, but like,
well, it's baked into every doctrinal statement in most major denominations.
Yeah, and so
it's not like it's a peripheral
but there's
thing.
A lot of people who would think that we are wrong for the way that we think about it.
I think it's
or the way that I think about it, maybe, I don't know.
I think it's a disputable matter. I think it is a non-essential.
Yeah.
I think it's essential to believe that Jesus is coming back because he said he would.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's essential to believe in the methodology that we've attached to it.
Yeah. Well, Jesus himself warns against it multiple times.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing that's so egregious. It's not like Jesus was silent on it. He
No, he
keeps
wasn't.
saying,
Yeah.
nobody knows.
Right.
Nobody knows.
So when somebody announces when they know, that's not when it's happening.
Correct.
That's the part I don't get. What's wrong with you people?
Yes. Stop it.
Stop it.
Stop.
Stop it. Stop it.
It was fun.
It was fun.
Was that a Bob Newhart reference right there? Nice. Look at that. It was fun to introduce a whole new generation into rapture disappointment.
Right. I liked what you said on Sunday. Like, if this was your first rapture disappointment, welcome.
Welcome to the club.
But there's
about every 10 years.
Yeah.
But the idea of I believe the idea or the theology behind him saying he would return, that we would live in anticipation of his return.
Yeah.
And we would live as though it's the whole parables of preparedness. That you would live into this idea that the kingdom is already here, so that when the king arrives, it's happening.
Will he find faith on the earth? Totally.
That's the whole. It ties together better that way than I got to get you your. Out of here. We've got to exit this place.
And just obsessing on the details of it, so that you miss the faithfulness that it is should be the result of believing in it.
Well, I think obsessing on the details of it also comes from a place of fear and trying to make sense of the world that we're living in. You know, like, I think that actually that plays into some of it too. You know? Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I absolutely. We're always. I mean, and Christianity at its worst falls into this entirely. We're always looking for an overarching explanation that allows us to figure out who's to blame.
Right.
And so, I mean, there you go. There you go. This was rampant in Jesus's day in Judaism. When you look at, and that's the thing that I think people don't realize, is that Jesus had all of the culture war options available to us. Those were available to him.
Yeah.
In the different parties of Jews and the way they related to Jerusalem. And so it's so instructive to go back and watch what he does with all of those options.
So going back to what you were saying about prophecy, biblical prophecy has less to do with the how of Jesus's return and
but just the what of Jesus's return.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
But even then, a lot of the predictive stuff was fulfilled in its own generation. Like, you read Matthew 24 or Mark 13, and they're called little apocalypses.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like Jesus is talking about when he's coming back.
Yeah.
But the New Testament writers look at that as him talking about when he's coming back to judge Jerusalem when Rome invades.
Yeah.
So back to Kevin's point, interpretive point, that here's what and this is what drove the 1988 rapture thing, right? Within a generation, this generation will not see da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
And the satanic panic and all of that.
All of it. Absolutely. And I do think there's
that
platforming there, for sure, and money making in those sorts of things. But I don't think the vast majority of people who believe these things are doing it.
No, and I would say that even the people who made money off of it started out with it because they were trying to make sense of what was happening in their world.
Yeah,
I don't think that they were like trying to go make money off of
Yeah,
people.
I would agree.
Yeah.
It seems.
Yeah.
But we do have to also name the harm that's been done.
Yeah.
It's still, and the residual cultural hangover that you're seeing with all of this rapture stuff. Here's a South African pastor who is, as far as I know, has no global reach, but all of a sudden, like within 2 weeks, it's a worldwide thing, so that we're joking about it in our staff meeting in Nashville, Tennessee. I mean, it's just absolutely nuts.
But there are strains of theology. There was a strain of theology that popped into the mainstream in the 30s, called post-millennial end times theology. And it was born out of the idea that we can...
Well, you were in seminary.
In the 30s. The 1930s.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're almost to the 2030s.
Okay, perfect. Okay, that's fair.
But that became a driving force in the traveling evangelists, the crusades, the tent revivals, all the things.
What did you call it again? The post-millennial
rapture theology.
Okay.
Which
in a nutshell means... Explain what it means in a
nutshell.
Yeah.
It means that the rapture, that the world will come to a place where it have reached basically heaven on earth, and allow for, it's the holiness of the people that will draw Jesus back to the earth. And it'll happen after all these cataclysmic things happen, and people will realize, oh, we've got to be
a 1,000-year, and it'll be the 1,000-year reign.
Yeah, he'll come back then, and it is post tribulation. It is post all the bad things, but it would be brought about because the Christians have brought in some kind of holiness to the equation.
Which isn't that what a lot of people are?
It's still alive and well.
That's where we get like the 7 Mountain Mandate, right?
It is.
And dominionism.
Yes.
Which is a big part of Christian culture right now.
Right. And it is born out of this
right?
strain of theology.
You're just throwing around big words, that's all.
That also then brought in prosperity. That all brought in the prosperity gospel. All of those things. So anyway, it's just church history, and it's just another strain of theology that capitalizes or moves off of we've got to get out of here.
Yeah.
It moves on that.
And that's the thing,
that becomes the central theme.
To read about that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
because I just think so many of our arguments that we're having right now, like if you could understand where people are coming from, like the framework that they're coming from, I think it's helpful in terms of like we always talk about wanting to have civil conversations and talk with people that we love, that we disagree with. And I think maybe those are big words that I'm throwing around, but they are streams of thought that people have heavily ascribed to.
Yeah. For
sure.
That unless you're a total dork like me, like you haven't read about it. I didn't know about it until,
it's all relatively new thought in the realm of history.
But it's baked into our generation's Christianity.
For sure.
And so when you read what so many of our culture war issues today are wrapped up in some of that thinking. And so if you can understand the framework of it, then you can have maybe more helpful and loving conversations with people.
Yeah.
You know?
Because, as Pat Benatar said, love is a battlefield.
Oh.
I don't know where you go from that, because that was amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
all right.
Heartache to heartache.
Oh, we stand. No promises, no demands. Nice pull, Suzie.
Yeah.
Well, I would say if I were to rank this podcast,
it's definitely up there.
It's definitely up there towards the bottom.
I really hope that you can edit at least half of this out.
Lord,
why is the podcast 10 minutes this week?
Because it was a bunch of BS.
Because we're still trying to figure out
Bible study.
Who the White Widow is.
Yes. And stink bugs.
White Wedding.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Journey Now. If for some bizarre reason you liked it, help us spread the word by leaving a review and sharing it on your socials. Journey Now is a production of Journey Church in Brentwood, Tennessee. Edwin Rivera III produces the show and fixes all the guest slurping, gum chewing, coughing, and other annoying sounds. Randy Hansen provides technical assistance, even though he denies it. Grant Opperman edits Journey Now and intervenes when necessary to tell the crew that you can't say that. Special shout out to dear listener Brad Erre and dear YouTube watcher Seth Erre. If there's anyone else who makes it through each week, we're so sorry, and thanks to you too.